Good news. Well, let me welcome in Bob Hodge right here, next member of our panel. Almost zipped right by it, Bob. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Good news for Tennessee folks. After dropping into the low 2-seed range, meaning they were kind of dropping into that 3-seed zone, they have now rebounded all the way back to a number 1 seed in Joe Lunardi's latest projections. He has Tennessee, and if we can get it up on the screen, he has Tennessee as a number 1 seed in the West Regional. They would open in Raleigh versus Norfolk State, then play the winner of the 8-9 game, Clemson and West Virginia, for the right to head to San Francisco. Jerry Palm, same deal. He has Tennessee playing Bryant University, a school I have never heard of in Rhode Island that has only been playing Division I for a couple of years. But here's the scary thing. If you win that game in his projection, you would play the winner of 8-seed UConn, two-time defending national champion,
no part of it.
and 9-seed St. Mary's, which is usually a pretty good program too. I will say this, as a geezer, I can recall this. I think it was 2000, Tennessee beat UConn when they were the national champion. They were defending champions, and Tennessee put them out of the tournament in 2000 before they went on to lose to North Carolina. So maybe you could do a double. Another time you can knock them off as defending champions. But that's the projections as they stand right now. My question, Mark, does this look like a 1-seed quality team to you?
Well, I think today, yes. I think the waves of basketball. I think we're proving it. You know, we forget when you look at throughout the league. You look at the quality of teams that the SEC opponents are beating. You look at Iowa State, who was top 5 in the country, goes and loses 3 games in a row. I mean, Duke lost last night to Clemson. So there's a lot of losses that go on outside of Knoxville that sometimes we feel like when we have that loss, that the world is ending.
Oh, yeah.
So now, I think they're playing the way they could be a 1 seed. I just don't think by the end of the year, I think they're going to be in that 2-seed realm.
Now, the other thing here, back to Lunardi, he has the SEC with 13 bids at the moment, and Arkansas is the first team out. There are only 16 teams in this conference, so he's got 13 or 14 right there in the mix. 3 number 1 seeds because he's got Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee. Bob Hodge, should any conference get 13 or 14 bids? I don't care how good it is. Should that happen?
I'm going to go with no, and for a couple of reasons. One is just no. It's too much. But the other one is the NCAA tournament has been built and became popular over the course of all these years because a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed loses to Bavarian State Teachers College because they're a 16 or a 15. Well, when you're 16 or 15 is Vanderbilt or another SEC school, it loses its luster. People, I think, like seeing these smaller schools, just like you said, the one that we've never heard of before, get in. So I think it is too many just because it is, but I think it also makes the tournament something less.
It's 10 schools in the SEC have a 500 or better record. Why is 3-7 in conference? Arkansas is possibly going to the NCAA tournament as the first team out, and we're all just saying, yeah, the SEC is just that much better than everybody else. Are they? Is there anything we can point to that tells us that? Because in the non-conference, I mean, it was good. I still think the SEC is the best conference, but to have a 3-7 in conference SEC team in the first team out, to me that's insane. Why are we doing that?
I'm the complete opposite. I think if you look at 13 of 68 teams would be 19% of the field. If you're in college football, if there's a team of 12 that makes the college football playoffs, that's 2 teams that make the playoffs.
And the difference is 130 schools versus 350.
Correct, but then also you look at for the SEC standpoint, do we want them to play non-conference games that are competitive? Because the reason why Oklahoma's in the tournament, they beat Michigan, who's ranked right now. They beat Arizona, who's ranked right now. Louisville was ranked up until last week. If you just want to play an SEC schedule and not play opponents, I think, and not play non-conference opponents, I think then you start to minimize what it looks like outside.
I'm for cutting back games any way you want to do it. The fact that we now the champion winds up with 40 games, that's a bit much.
Can I just throw in, we didn't come here for a logic.
But to Mark's point, everybody else is losing too, though. That's the hard part is that all of these teams that I'm like, well, they should be a 1 seed or they should be in over this SEC team, they just keep losing. So it's hard to say, look, I don't like, if you're sub 500 in your conference, why are you in the tournament? That's kind of the way I look at it. And I would like them to make it 500 or
But here's
better.
the thing: you're not even sub 500. You're deep under
Yeah.
500.
4 games under.
My problem, and I've said this when it was the Big East that would get 10, 12 bids, and the ACCs had that kind of a thing. I don't see how you can be the 13th best team, or in this case, the 14th best team in your conference, and deserve a bid.
So if
at some point, it's just the big boys look good to us with the eye test, and we're
Yes.
putting them in.
Right.
But if Tennessee went 6-8 and beat in conference or whatever the numbers
Right.
are, to where they're below 500, and they beat Illinois, who's top 25 and finishes top 2 in the Big Ten, if they beat Miami, who happened to beat top 4 in the ACC, and all those non-conference, wouldn't we be arguing saying, hey, you should be in the SEC tournament because you won and played and beat non-qualified?
I would not. But I also, like Arkansas, they've won 30% of their conference games right now. Like that, to me, there's a difference between.
Yeah.
I can see the point you're making being fair, whether I want to see that or not. I see the point you're making, but
No,
like with
and-
Arkansas,
and-
it's
and
so far
You
below.
better roll it up in the non-conference. If you're going to have
Yeah.
that bad a conference season, then it can't just be, well, they beat these 2 teams. No, you better make up for it with 5 big boy wins, which means you're going to play a hell of a schedule to get in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Norfolk State on your schedule.
And the reality is, the NCAA tournament is, and look, I'm a mid-major guy. I played at Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that mid-majors should get in and make it run. That's what makes the NCAA tournament special. However, we have to be okay with saying, all right, we're probably not going to get the top 68 teams in there. Because that's what it is. You're really
Right.
going to get, all right, all these at-large bids are in, and so really you're picking from 34 or whatever it is.
Yeah. I just hate the fact that it's turned into, and I would say this with the Big Ten, which is another mega conference. I just hate the fact it's turned into you can be the 14th out of a 16-team league and get in. I'm sorry.
Well, then throw in one of the 3 teams that doesn't make it wins the SEC tournament. I mean, why
You
not
could
just
have
go ahead and
15
put them all
teams.
in
put them
there?
all in.
That's a good point. Well, the other thing is, and here's the deal, you can then, whoever gets in there, let's say Arkansas gets in there, there's nothing to say that in that sport, they don't
could
get
make a
hot and
run,
go on a
yeah.
run. Everybody,
Yeah.
see? But you could do that with anybody. You could do that with the NIT champion.
NC
You could do
State
that with the
last
team
year,
that
right?
loses the first round of the NIT. Yeah. All right. When we come back, rematches with Kentucky and Vanderbilt are on the docket for Tennessee this week. What did the Vols learn from losing to those 2 earlier? What lessons can be applied this time around? Come on back on the Sports Source.